That was through my campus interview in Natco Pharma, where I started my career as a medical representative. Well, I think COVID has been teacher for all of us in many aspects, not only in businesses, but frankly, even in I made the contribution in clinical genomics. My always value system was around that integrity and ethical behavior. The decision has to be not always with each product a high profit, but as a portfolio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I am Tanay All, and today we are thrilled to have with us an exceptional leader in the pharmaceutical industry. With over 30 years of experience across various renowned healthcare organizations, she has been a pivotal force in driving innovation, commercial growth, and patient centric initiatives in oncology and beyond. Her strategic leadership and commitment to excellence have not only transformed market landscapes but also redefined industry standards. It's an honor to introduce Ms. Manisha Sonavadikar, who is Senior Director at MCure Pharmaceuticals as well as an independent consultant and health coach working on establishing integrative oncology. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. Your expertise and journey are truly inspiring.
Thank you, Tanay, for this introduction. And I'm also thrilled to be here so that this journey during this entire course, as well as beyond, is also known to others and helps others.
Ma'am, it's honestly been great reading about your experience, and I'm really excited to learn more from you. So, shall we begin? The first question we have for you, ma'am, is that you've had an illustrious career spanning over 3 decades in the pharmaceutical industry. Could you share the key milestones that shaped your career, particularly your transition from sales training at Natco Pharma to leading oncology portfolios at major companies?
Yes, very much.
Uh,
Uh,
yes.
Over last 30 years, when I look back, my journey actually started in sales and hardcore sales. That was through my campus interview in Natco Pharma, where I started my career as a medical representative. During this journey, I realized that I started loving the interactions with doctors. I could utilize my basic education background. That is, I'm a pharmacy graduate, so my understanding and the blend could help generate the sales, and that started giving me a different perspective. During this journey, I was evaluating how best I can utilize my knowledge, because my Natco Pharma journey, they had recruited pharmacy graduate into sales for the very fact not only to have the sales, but we were also given part of training and handling queries which come during the interactions with the rest of the MRs. So each Saturday used to be devoted to that, and that's what I realized, that yeah, I enjoyed this in terms of training, reading, and utilizing that knowledge. And that is how I came across this opportunity in Nicholas Piramal Biotech Division, which was actually a strategic alliance with Roche Pharmaceuticals in the space of oncology, nephrology, and HIV. So these were all super specialized segments which actually needed the concept and consultative selling. And that's how the journey began in this super specialized segment, where of course the cost of treatment was high. You had to really have your understanding about not only about the product but also about the therapy very high. So through that journey, I began again in sales and then move into various function to marketing, managing other segments in biotech, which was beyond this oncology, HIV. I went into critical care, multiple sclerosis, premature babies. So it was a great journey in terms of handling marketing. But besides that, I had also opportunities to be on the steering committee of McKinsey while the organization was developing the growth chart. So that is how the strategic bent got modulated and sharpened. Besides that, I was also a functional consultant when the organization was launching their Salesforce automation part. So, right from the Oracle vanilla base to developing the as is and to be gave me good perspective in terms of how the functions move and how you can have automation driven and change the mindset of people where people were always used to be manual. So this complete gamut gave me a whole lot of perspective. Managing international partners gave an opportunity how to deal in the businesses. And with this great experience, after 13 years, I moved to Johnson and Johnson Oncology to leverage my all experiences to head the business. So that was my first P&L brush and started managing that well. Uh, Through the opportunity, I also get nephrology portfolio there, and the whole journey, which was into consultative selling, I took a different plunge, which was with a startup into genomics. So spent almost about 6 years, got the organization to break even, and now with a different perspective, I moved to handling larger business segment to MCure, oncology, nephrology. So whole gamut again, the core businesses I knew, but the strategies and the shaping up business was all different ballgame. So over this journey, I realized patient centricity is always I worked around. And during oncology, I came across this part of integrative oncology, and that has driven me to now move independently and work setting up this integrative oncology concept here in India. So this is my overall journey till now.
Wonderful, ma'am. That's truly amazing journey covering a lot of aspects. And I think once you have the bases ready, it really helps to go ahead and do other things right. So, ma'am, building on that, let's move to the next milestone in your journey. Our next question is, as Senior Director at MCure Pharmaceuticals, you managed to grow the oncology and nephrology portfolio even during challenging COVID-19 pandemic. What strategies did you employ to ensure sustained growth in such unprecedented times?
Well, I think COVID has been teacher for all of us in many aspects, not only in businesses, but frankly, even in our lives as well.
Yeah.
So that part has been actually, when I look back, I really look it as such a great teacher and experience that I have got. Now, of course, oncology and nephrology were actually the majorly hit businesses across pharma industry. But for the obvious reason, because these patients are actually immunocompromised and they were more susceptible. So actually, they couldn't get out of the houses also, even when, the whole healthcare industry restarted. So the key challenge was how I can minimize that degrowth and then build upon the growth. So first and most important thing was how the patient can connect with the clinicians during this time. Second, because they were not able to travel. And mind you, we all have tertiary care centers. At primary care centers, you don't have oncology. That means if someone is in interiors of Maharashtra, they really travel, say, to your nearest primary care, secondary care, or the tertiary care, like maybe Mumbai or say Nasik, if someone is from interiors of Marathwada. So reach was one. So access to the clinician was one part which we worked on. And I think digital access actually gave boon to, reaching out to masses in many different ways. Then reaching out to our internal stakeholders was important because everything was kind of chaos. There was scare. So keeping up their morale was important. So we had lots of initiative, which was not only on the sales update, but how you could have fun online with togetherness, train them. We utilize all these opportunities to sharpen their various skills, including technical and selling skill. That is how we could have establish the connects with them. Most important thing for the patients were the access to medicine, not only to doctor, but to medicine. So lots of initiatives were taken on supply chain management and actually how you could reach the medicines to the patients. So I think these various strategies help us to give the growth.
Yeah. That's really impressive, man, ma'am. Especially given the challenges everyone faced during COVID, it's clear that the strategies that you made really made a big impact. Ma'am, our next question is: you played a pivotal role in introducing clinical genomics to India's oncology sector while at Positive Bioscience, a bold and a very, very innovative move. What inspired you to lead such an innovative initiative, and how did you get stakeholders on board with such a forward thinking approach?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned to you, I got fascinated early in my career with all this consultative selling or the technical sales, which actually drove me to work in the super specialized segment. Having worked in oncology for last over 30 years, actually it's still unsolved puzzle. Oncology is such a segment where you have patients where you have to provide lots of courage, hope, not only on the treatment part, but on various elements. And actually, the disease keeps coming back. Of course, you have better treatment options. So I was intrigued by why things are happening, and I was always studying and reading about oncology space, and having come to the background of developing strategies, we really had to identify what is that we can introduce in the segment. So my journey started in biotech division, where we always read because that time biotech was an sunrise industry. So monoclonal antibodies was never heard of. I have been pivotal in launching first monoclonal antibodies here in India. That's Herceptin and Mabthera from Roche stable. So the new concept, monoclonal antibodies, no one had heard of, high cost. And during that, I started realizing the journey about genomics, how the targeted treatments were developed, what was playing role. So I was always studying genomics. And when I read about the international papers and how they are utilizing genomics into clinical genomics and not keeping that as a research only for molecule development, I realized that this is going to be future in treatment and disease management. And that is how I took that bold step. And when I now look after 10 years, how the industry has stepped up even in genomics, I think I made the contribution in clinical genomics.
Lovely, ma'am. It's wonderful to hear how you actually helped and made it something which was never there in India, and that's always a unique achievement to have.
And here to take stakeholders on board, actually, it all started with first the clinicians to understand the utility part. They always were used to doing certain tests, but how the clinical genomics is going to shape. So, one was getting KOLs or the top leading clinicians to help them understand not only on the functionality of the test, but how they will be able to respond and discuss this whole thing with patients, and how that will help or be assistant in the treatment journey. When they realized the importance of that, and of course clinical guidelines started amending all these tests, uh, we were able to drive this nationwide. So of course it starts with top tier, and
Yeah.
then you go with the other tiers and then educate them. So lots of initiative we had to take in terms of education front at the clinician level, so that they can transmit that both to other clinicians as well as help discuss with patients.
Ma'am, throughout your career, you worked on fostering a culture of ethical leadership and development. How do you see ESG frameworks influencing leadership development, particularly in sectors like pharmaceuticals, where regulatory compliance and patient care is so critical?
Yeah, that's very important. Actually, my always value system was around that integrity and ethical behavior, because here in pharmaceutical industry, patient is always at the center. So whatever you do has to be around that, and then actually ethics forms a core of it. So when you are dealing with the lives, I think this is the most important rule people will be able to understand, because it's, I always tell people that be in other shoes. And if you are someone who is at the receiving end, how would you deal with it? first put yourself in that shoes, and then you will realize how these regulatory frameworks are going to be your partners and they are not your hindrances, as
Yeah.
people many a times perceive it as. And you are able to have definitely ethically driven businesses which are actually sustainable.
Yeah. Ma'am, it's clear that in the field of pharmaceuticals, like you're saying, yes, strong leadership is important, but there has to be a lot of ethical principles, and I think that makes a huge amount of difference. Very well said, ma'am. Ma'am, our next question is, giving your deep experience in pricing strategies, how would you advise companies to approach pricing for life-saving drugs, especially in emerging markets where affordability is so much of a concern?
Wow, that's a great question, because pricing is such a dear topic to each organization. Of course, it's a tightrope between profitability and the access. Of course, various organization decides on various elements, but how would you have that critical balance when you are working on the life-saving medicines, and the trade-off between where you will really make larger profit and where you will work on thin margins? That's the ball game where
Yeah.
organizations have to take a call, because it will all depend on how are you going to make product accessible. So are you reaching to the masses based on what is the indication that you have, how much research has gone into it? So of course you have poured money also in research. So at each level, the decision has to be not always with each product a high profit, but as a portfolio, how much you are willing to give that leeway to the business and decide on the access. These are going to be two critical factors.
Ma'am, as you've progressed in your career, managing regulatory compliance and governance, especially on a global scale, is becoming more and more important. As an independent consultant, how has your involvement with Directors Institute helped you navigate those complexities, and how has it shaped your approach to governance in today's ever evolving global landscape? We love to hear thoughts about it.
Okay. So, as I said, I always, because of the patient centricity, when I came across this oncology segment or the integrative oncology, when I moved as integrative wellness expert, and I started coming across various requirements where they needed consultative approach for various elements that you just highlighted. And then I realized it is required that I transmit my knowledge to all these organizations. And that is how I came across the Directors Institute, which actually was giving the updates, not just updates, actually be able to put that constructively into management, and helping the organizations or the individuals who wanted those insights. So, as I just recently mentioned about the governance, the ethical way and approaches, and how you still will be able to manage businesses, I think with this institute's all teaching and learning has helped me to navigate that.
Lovely, ma'am. Lovely to hear that we could be of some help. Your insights have been incredibly valuable, and we truly appreciate you taking out time to share your journey with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, and this brings us to the end of our episode. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation, ma'am.
Yes, very
And
much. Thank
yes,
you very much for this, and giving me the opportunity where I've been able to share the important learnings and how Directors Institute is helping me to hone my skills further, so that I am able to contribute in much better and way to other organizations.
yeah. Definitely, ma'am. We also enjoyed this story, and it was lovely for our viewers. I think it would be a very enriching experience to hear your journey, and it has been a lot of fun for all of us. But yes, that does bring us to the end of this episode. We hope that you enjoyed this engaging conversation and look forward to sharing more impactful stories from inspiring leaders in our next episode. Until then, stay motivated, keep striving for excellence, and best of luck. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.